China is literally inching closer to Taiwan to make an invasion that much easier. Welcome to China Uncensored, I'm Chris Chappell. China is doing something very devious regarding Taiwan. Wow, I don't know if I've ever said a more evergreen sentence in the history of this show. But now, China is getting so brazen that on Monday, its Coast Guard boarded a Taiwanese boat full of civilians. Surprised? No, me neither. Something like this was bound to happen sooner or later. For years, Taiwan has dealt with encroaching Chinese operators, like Chinese fishers who ram boats and steal fish, as well as sand from within Taiwan's prohibited and restricted zones. Yes, they're stealing sand, because how else could China build all those crumbling infrastructure projects? You gotta get the materials from somewhere. All this is absolutely done with the Chinese Communist Party's permission. It's part of the CCP's gray zone strategy to coerce Taiwan with everything short of war. Which leads us to last week's sea chase incident. According to Taiwan's authorities, a Chinese speedboat carrying 4 people entered Taiwan's controlled waters off Jinmen near Beiding Inlet, a military outpost just east of the main island. When the Taiwanese Coast Guard approached the speedboat, the fishermen sped away. Their speedboat capsized and all 4 occupants fell overboard. They were all rescued, but 2 of them were pronounced dead in Jinmen Hospital after resuscitation failed. Now that happened near Jinmen Island, which is only a few miles away from Xiamen in mainland China, making it part of the front line for Taiwan. Of course, China's Taiwan Affairs Office pounced on the opportunity to put the blame on Taiwan. Taiwan Affairs Office spokeswoman Zhu Fenglian called the sea chase a malicious incident that had severely harmed the feelings of compatriots, while any rational person would call this a case of play stupid games, win stupid prizes, with the stupid prize here being the dumbest death by speedboat of all time. Zhu also stated that Taiwan's Democratic People's Party authorities have been using rough and dangerous methods towards Chinese fishermen, which is the main reason leading to this vicious incident. Yes, because anytime Taiwan tells Chinese nationals to get out of its territory, that's using rough and dangerous methods. It's like saying cops who tackled an armed suspect were abusing their authority. Come on, that's gonna leave a bruise. Why don't you just let him shoot 30 or 40 people instead? And you can tell based on that analogy that I live in America. Zhu also said that fishermen from China had been operating in the sea area since ancient times, and that there is no such thing as prohibited or restricted waters in the zones. Of course, China gets to have maritime borders, but Taiwan? Psh, those are ancestrally shared waters. Be a better neighbor, Taiwan. Zhu went on to say, the mainland is full of goodwill towards Taiwan compatriots, but will not tolerate the Taiwan authorities' disregard for the lives and property of mainland fishermen. Yep, this definitely looks like goodwill to me. The CCP is clearly using this sea chase incident to justify nibbling away at Taiwan's territory. Shortly after Zhu's comments, Chinese Coast Guard spokesperson Gan Yu said that the Fujian Coast Guard Bureau would mount regular patrols where the 2 fishermen died, supposedly to maintain operational order in sea areas and safeguard fishermen's lives and property. And by their property, they mean Taiwan. And who they're safeguarding it from is also Taiwan. On Monday morning, online ship tracking information showed 4 Chinese Coast Guard vessels operating just outside of Taiwan's prohibited and restricted zones around Jinmen. That same day, Taiwan reported that Chinese Coast Guard personnel boarded a Taiwanese tour boat with 11 crew members and 23 passengers. This was after the vessel reportedly veered slightly off course, which shouldn't have been an issue since Chinese tour boats do the same thing into Taiwanese waters regularly. Because if China didn't have double standards, we wouldn't know they had any standards at all. 2 Chinese Coast Guard boats intercepted the sightseeing vessel at around 4:47 p.m. local time. 6 officers boarded, checked its route plan, certificate, and crew licenses, and left around 5:19 p.m. as the people on board heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the Taiwan vessel returned to Jinmen safe and sound, but this story easily could have ended differently. Taiwan's Coast Guard administration is now warning Taiwanese vessels that if similar incidents happen in the future, they should refuse Chinese requests to board and seek help immediately, which is probably good advice. Who knows if the Chinese Coast Guard officers will do more than just inspect the vessel next time. China is so shady that Taiwan is now having to teach stranger danger even about their boats. What kind of names is China giving their ships? The SSS Bad Touch? But China isn't only inching its way closer to Taiwan on the sea. There's something new going on. I'll tell you more after the break. Welcome back. China is salami slicing its way into Taiwan's borders to make an invasion more possible. Given that every Chinese corporation answers to the CCP, you bet that even Chinese cargo ships can quickly be militarized and used against Taiwan. But it's not just the sea that Taiwan needs to worry about. Taiwan needs to keep its eyes on the sky. It should already be common knowledge by now that Chinese military aircraft and Chinese spy balloons constantly make incursions into Taiwanese airspace. But here's something that Taiwan also needs to worry about now: Chinese civilian airlines. Last month, China unilaterally decided to move its civil aviation flight routes closer to the Taiwan Strait median line. That's an unofficial boundary between China and Taiwan. And now it's really unofficial. Beginning on February 1st of this year, Chinese civilian aircraft on the southbound M503 flight route are allowed to fly 4.2 nautical miles from the median line instead of the formerly agreed upon 6 nautical miles. A 1.8 nautical mile adjustment may not seem like much, but it puts Chinese aircraft just that much closer to Taiwan. China also announced that it would start using 2 secondary routes connecting M503 with the cities of Fuzhou and Xiamen. These routes are right near the flight paths that go to the Taiwanese island of Matsu and Jinmen. It's an airline accident just waiting to happen. Sorry, I meant to say it's another airline accident just waiting to happen. Why would China do something as stupid as that and risk civilian casualties? Sorry, more civilian casualties. Well, it's part of its legal warfare. It helps justify the narrative that Taiwan is already an inalienable part of China, especially if civilian airlines end up crossing over Taiwan's airspace en route to their destinations. It's one thing for Chinese military aircraft to make incursions into Taiwanese airspace, but it's another if Chinese civilians do it on a daily basis. It also puts a lot of pressure on Taiwan's air defense capacity by forcing Taiwan to keep track of more air traffic incursions. But there could be a far more sinister plot at play here. Remember, we're talking about China, an authoritarian regime that believes in military-civilian fusion. And while I don't mean human-tank hybrids, China would absolutely do this if they could. You can bet that the CCP will use civilians as cover for an irresponsible and outright dangerous Trojan horse. How? It's possible that China could disguise a military aircraft as a civilian plane to seize airports in Taiwan. Just fly along the route and then bam, go right in to invade Taiwan. A flight route even just a nautical mile or two closer to Taiwan can make a huge difference. Taiwanese officials are well aware of this. Former Taiwanese Air Force Deputy Commanding General Chang Yating warned that it takes a warplane just 1 minute to fly 11 kilometers. So now we have 1 minute less of reaction time. The CCP could even get sneaky and just fly military aircraft under legit civilian aircraft to fool surveillance. That's a real possibility the CCP may be experimenting with. And if you're thinking, isn't that dangerous for civilians? China's response is, yeah, and? They care about civilians as much as bears care about hurting salmon's feelings. A good example of this is when there were reports last year of a PLA Y-9 plane flying under flight CX-366 on the M503 route, the same route I mentioned that got moved closer to the median line. Chang warned about that scenario as well, saying if 3 or 5 communist warplanes flew in formations in a vertical up and down position, using civilian airliners as cover, we might be caught in a surprise attack as the warplanes would be able to fly to Taipei and other major cities in just 5 to 10 minutes. I wouldn't even put it past China to blame Taiwan for civilian casualties, if China goes ahead with a plan as dangerous as this. Inch by inch, China is definitely changing up the status quo, and that's why the world can't be complacent about it. It needs to respond and make sure that China doesn't get away with its shenanigans. Now, I've got a video I want to show you that I think will tickle your fancy. But first, it's time to show love to the people who make this show possible. The China Uncensored 50 Cent Army. Fans who support the show on patreon.com/China Uncensored. As my way of thanks, I answer their questions at the end of these episodes. Today's question comes from Freedom Lover. A question you can hopefully answer on one of your upcoming videos. What happened to locals? I remember for a while that was an option for supporting the channel, but you don't mention it anymore. Thanks for helping illuminate everyone on the dangers of the CCP. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you. And thanks for bringing that up. Yes, we do still have Locals. Locals is like an exclusive China Uncensored social media platform where you can chat with me or other fans of the show for a small monthly contribution. It's another great way to help support China Uncensored in addition to Patreon. However, by far the biggest chunk of the budget to keep making the show comes from Patreon, which is why I usually talk about it here. But I do answer questions from Locals on the show too. If you're interested in supporting us on Locals, head over to chinauncensored.locals.com. I'll leave a link below. Thanks for your question and your support, Freedom Lover. And here's that video I want to show you. It's from my new show, Deep Thoughts While Gaming, and this week's episode is about Doki Doki Literature Club and Buddhism. Check it out and let me know what you think. And if you want to support China Uncensored on Patreon, click that orange button. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.